Hello, let's go for a walkthrough to help you get started creating AI agents for OpenServ. We use this repo for the agent started. This is a template repo. So you come here to template, create a new repository. That will create a new repository on your user. Let's say getting started AI agents. Create a repo. And then from your repo, from your user, we can clone this code. We enter the folder. Okay. And as I'm using VS Code, you use the code command. That will open my IDE. Okay. First thing, let's install all the packages. This is a TypeScript repo. So npm install, and let's see what's in the package. It's a very simple agent made for you to understand those steps to develop an agent. And the SDK, which is a wrapper for our REST API, will make your life so much easier. Use it as a developer dependency. There's basically TypeScript and linting stuff, and the real dependencies, we're only using the OpenServ SDK, .env to keep your environment variable safe, and Zod that is type validator. So if you want to make sure it's a number, it's just return a number and this kind of stuff. And what you have in the source is just an index file. Index file. It is all really well explained in the README. You can go back and read it in details. But let me show you. So here all you have is the validation of the types, the environment variable with .env, and the SDK getting the agent class. So what you're doing here is just instantiating the class of an agent and giving it a prompt. That's what like an AI agent, what it does, it's like a very specific LLM that will do a very specialized thing. And with the sister prompt of the agent, you're setting up your agent to be specialized in a certain thing. This example, we are summing two numbers. So this is what it does. You just sum two numbers. And then your work as a developer is adding capabilities for this agent. And for each capability, you will have a name, a description, the definition of the schema, in this case are numbers, and the function. Then you're just a regular TypeScript, JavaScript development, or if you want to use any other language, using our REST API. So you will return A plus B, that's all it does. There's another piece of code over here that uses the process method, and the process, we will comment it out. This process method helps you test your agent locally in case you have an OpenAI key, and before sending to OpenServ, you want to test the behavior of this agent with an LLM locally. So that's what it does. We don't want to use it, otherwise you will complain we don't have an OpenAI key, so let's just comment it out. So this is it. Creating your AI agent for the first time with this little amount of code, which is basically one line. Cool. So what's next? Let's come here to our quick start guide in our docs, and you will need a few things before you start. I'll come here to the quick start guide. It has a nice graphic explaining. Let's explain it. Let's understand this graphic. So here's your machine, your IDE. We need to talk to the OpenServ platform, and we do that through the internet. But how do you make your IDE being the internet? We use something that called a tunnel tool. And this is ngrok. Well, there's others. Here, local tuner, for example, is an open source option. For this walkthrough, use ngrok that you need to download. installed on our computer, and that will allow you to just use a command ngrok to create your tunnel. And of course, an OpenServ account. That's what you need to get started. So let's do that. If you come here to our environment variables, I will already duplicate this because we will need to use real environment. So here we're using the port 7378, and we will need to generate an OpenServ API key. So let's first start the ngrok. ngrok http 7378. You don't need to know that by heart. Is it in the README? What we want is this address over there. What ngrok does, or tunneling tool does, is transforming the local host and the port into an URL that connects it to the internet. So it's pretty cool. Now let's go to the OpenServ and let's add a new agent with this endpoint that we just copied. And let's create the agent that name it's getting started with OpenServ, or whatever name you want to give it, but you need to remember this name. The capabilities is a description that it will have two purposes. Like if a user want to use your agent, he can know, so it's a little like a human descriptive, but mostly is a description for our shadow agents to search for your agent when it's looking to solve a user problem. So it's nice when your capability is a bit descriptive. In this case, sum two numbers. When you're creating your agent, we will not use right now because it's a very simple agent, but you can make use of our native integrations, just adding any scope. Simple as that, with a touch of a button. So you as a developer already have that out of the box. And when you say manage this agent, you read your secret key. So the OpenServ API key is an agent API key. Every agent will have a different key. We copy, okay, then your agent has been created. OpenServ, and we save it. That's it. Good. And now, now we need to first run this code. So we will open up the terminal and say npm run dev, because I'm using TypeScript, this is all in the dev dependencies. And you will see the message, very nice. Oh, cool. Your agent has already started. So your agent is running. Now we come to the platform, and how do you test your agent? The way you test your agent, like a npm run, it's creating a project and testing if your agent works. So let's create sum two numbers to get the result 100. You give a name. If you don't want to think about it, you just push this button and you will automatically create a number. Let's correct the typo. Next. Now we're gonna look for your agent. Cool. You will know it's your agent because there's your name on it. And here you will see a private label. What does it mean? The private label means that it's only visible for you. That's because you don't want everyone to use your agent while it's not ready and has not been tested. However, that doesn't mean that you cannot use all the other agents that are already in the platform. We don't want to do that now, but you can already, out of the box, in 1 minute, already build your multi-agents team. So my team is picked. If you have context file, you can add it here. And let's start the project. The first thing that OpenServ does is using this shadow agent that's called Project Manager. And what it does is making sure the human who asks, it's making sure of the intention of the user who set up the prompt. Sometimes the prompt can be confusing for what your agent actually does. So this makes sure that it is achieving what you want. Let's see what it written. Use the capability to sum two numbers and find a pair of numbers that adds up to 100. It hasn't identified two numbers. Okay. Looks actually complex, more than we usually think. You said that it go to done because the project managed task is done, and it will call my agent. And you can follow through your terminal what's going on. If an error has been generated, you can see if there's any log or something happening. And ooh, done. Okay, let's see. And then you see the output. The two numbers that sum up to 200 are 1550. Perfect. It has done. And let's see. And then you have all the logs. And you will see that here it will call the name of our capability, which was sum, that you can see here. A plus B. Cool. You get the response and how it get to achieve this result. Then it says, oh, it's done. Tell it it's done. And it gives you the reasoning around it. And it was pretty fast, done. In some cases, we will also want directly ask something for this agent, or if you're not happy with, you can come here and restart the task for some reason. Done? That's all you need to know. But you know what? Let's do something more, right? Like this was your first time. Let's add another capability. Let's say I want a multiplication. So let's say I want to multiply. So I want my agent not to do just sum, but also to multiply. And what it does is that it multiplies two numbers. It is also number, so the description doesn't need any changes. I just need a sign to be multiply. Again, pure developer work. Save it. And let's restart the server just in case. And let's create another project to test this function. So sum two numbers to reach the total of 10. Multiply two numbers to reach the total of 71. Oh, that's a harder one for the human. Ask for a name, little challenge, next. Getting started, next. Project. Let's see what the project manager come up with. Let's see if the plan is correct. Multiply. Looks good. Let's see what it does. When it's done, it calls my agent with some specific capability. No errors coming up. Here you also see that Andrew Rocca is receiving a request. That means that it is the platform is calling my URL that we define in the endpoint and is receiving a good response. And now, well, the sum is already done. The 10 and 16 looks legitimate, but in multiply it has an error. Summing up two numbers, but error can multiply two numbers for two. Sometimes it can get multiply two numbers in which their result should be 71. Sometimes you get confused, no big deal. It goes again, it gets confused, and then you can help. Let's see again. Maybe you need to tell it. I'm only giving you summing two numbers. Let's see what could go wrong. Let's see the capability of our agent. Let's see why it doesn't know it has a multiply capability. Getting started. In the capability description, you do not say it can also multiply. Sum two numbers. Multiply two numbers. Let's update it. You can also update in case you have to restart the ng-rock. This name, this URL name will change. So you also need to do this step, details, update. Change it here and update. Let's go back to our project. Get confused. Let's call the project manager again and say restart the task. Then again, we will come back with a project, sum two numbers, use the multiplication function. Okay. Let's see if it finds my new capability. The sum of 10, multiply 4 and 6. Looks good. And it has finished the multiply two numbers. And you know, it called the actual capability because it called the multiply, which is the name of this capability. And there you go. If you want to see the response or the reasoning around it, it's all logged in here. And then you go understanding what, stop this task, can play around or oh, stop it. And this is how you start creating projects. If this is getting stuck, this is why it's a tryout. Just go to the project, your projects, and you can just delete your project, and that's it. This was just an overall understanding for you to understand how it works and how do you learn little by little about how to create AI agents for OpenServ. If you want to know more about the methods of the SDK, it is open. It is in our open repo. You can just come here to the SDK and check all the documentations, how does it interact with chats, and we also offer you several examples. If you want to do more complex things and you want, for example, for the DeFi space, using Dex Screener or Goat or Perplexity, so you can have more ideas about what can you do. And we also offer you some resources for you to understand the concepts behind memory management, how it's a mental model shift from software to engineering, both video and text. And that's it. So happy hacking, and I hope to see, cannot wait to see what you will create.